Welcome back to the Samantha Parker Show. Hey, I'm your host, Samantha. Let's dive on in. Hey guys, welcome back to the Samantha Parker Show. I'm honored today to have Jacinta Field, also known as Jay. So do you go by Jay?
Yeah, it's Jacintha, so it's like a tongue twister. So it's like Samantha and Jacinta put together. Everyone in practice, especially the kids, call me Jay because it's way too long for them to say.
Okay, yes, that's way easier. But so you are a family and child counselor, an art therapist, a breathwork coach, a Reiki practitioner, and a meditation teacher. And you're the founder of Happy Souls Kids, a platform dedicated to helping kids and families build emotional resilience, mindfulness, and self-regulation tools. I have a lot of questions for you, and I want to make sure today that we dive into Happy Souls Kids. You also have a really cool story, and a lot of people listen to my podcast. They're here for the sober tea. So we are going to talk about sobriety today. And it sounds like to me that you've been sober for quite a while.
Yeah. I used to party a lot and I drink a lot. I used to mask all my problems and emotions with alcohol and going out. And I stopped drinking almost 10 years ago. So I made that decision for myself, which if you knew me at the time was pretty tough. I'd go out a lot. So I think when we choose ourselves, that just sends us on a much different path.
Okay, and you live in Melbourne, Australia, so this is fun. It's early in the morning there, right?
Yeah, it's 8 o'clock, which isn't too bad actually. We are in the winter, just about to come out of winter. We're starting to get a little spring in our step, but it's completely different to where you guys have your beautiful sunshine over there at the moment.
I know where winter is coming.
Maybe you should just come to us.
It doesn't snow where I live, so, I'm like, that's okay. You know what I mean?
When it's cold, don't you want it to snow? So at least you have that element of it's just so beautiful and it's fun.
Oh.
No. I think it's different going to the snow and living in it, isn't it?
I lived in Salt Lake City, which the Olympics have been there. The Winter Olympics have been there a few times. I came from up north, and now I live more southern, and it's so much better. It's so much better. You can't change my mind.
Yeah, I totally get it. It's different, as I said, going snowboarding for the day or a weekend and living in snow, very different story.
Yes. I'm like, I don't want to drive. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to do any of it. It's fun to talk to you because I don't think I've had anyone on my podcast from Australia. So I just feel like this is a fun new perspective. So I kind of want to dive into this real quick. What is the culture, like the drinking culture, like where you live?
We get a badge of honour for being the drunkest person in the room in Australia. It's a huge drinking culture here. It's starting to slow down a lot with younger children now. They're making better choices for themselves, but my generation and even my parents' generation, it's big in Australia. We going to the pub on a Friday night universally, but especially in Australia is such a big thing. We've got AFL here, which is our football. And I went with my son. We go most weeks. The entire stadium is drinking, and it's a way to connect to friends. It's not, hey, do you want to catch up? It's, hey, do you want to go for a drink? So it's a massive culture here. And yeah, as I said, you get celebrated for being the drunkest person in the room. When I started, it was such a taboo subject, and it was very challenging to make that decision for me because I was certainly isolated from a lot of different people and my peers who were drinking at the time, and I took it personally during those times and then realized that it was just because there was something in me that they weren't able to do. That isolation comes from a place of them being triggered, and I think that's where you really need to learn that self-courage to be able to say, you know what, this is not for me, this is not who I want to be, this is not how I want to live, and I think that's really important.
Here in the United States, they just came out with a study. It's the Gallup poll, and every year they poll everyone, and 52% of Americans actually do not drink. Do you feel like it's that way in Australia, or is it just kind of like this is what everyone does?
No, definitely not. It's slowing down. A little while ago we were talking, and I was actually talking with some investors about this as well, opening some alcoholic-free bars, and there are a couple around, but no, definitely not. I don't know what the statistics are here, but it would not be those statistics that you've got in the US. People are slowing down, absolutely, but there's still a huge drinking culture here.
I think where I live, I see religion kind of plays into it. So a lot of people where I live are Mormon because I live in Utah. They don't drink. So I feel like I've always known people who weren't drinkers, but then I gravitated more to those who did drink. It could be interesting to live somewhere where that's what everyone did. I went to Ireland a couple of years ago and everyone went to the pub. Like everyone went for drinks. Even there was kids in the pub,
My mum's Irish. She was born in Ireland. So I have that kind of drinking culture. I've been to Ireland myself, and that's my family. I have 36 aunties and uncles and a huge family. My mum was one of 8, my dad was one of 9. All of them drink, pretty much. All of my family. We've got our Irish part as well, which love port. I think it's a really big culture that we've got in Australia and different nations, but it depends on the generations. The younger generation that's coming through see things a little bit differently, and I think that's really beautiful.
And so are you guys kind of tapping into that with Happy Soul Kids?
Yeah.
What is your mission?
Our target market is really, it was 5 to 12. We've moved it a little bit to 8 to 12. But the purpose of Happy Souls Kids in 2019, 2020, we separated. My son started school and it was COVID all at the same time, and he was not okay. He was throwing bins around the house. He was running up the street. His emotions were so well beyond anything I could support at the time. I studied as much as I could to support my own child, even though I'd done meditation and breath work and been on my own healing journey. When it comes to kids, that's not their language. They're not going to sit there and meditate. It's really hard for them. So we use something called Cosmic Kids as a yoga platform, which is a universal YouTube platform. My child is hyperactive. He is the child that just wants to jump around. So yoga and meditation's hard for him. So I started to learn a language with children that spoke to them. My son is my unofficial co-founder. During COVID, we saw that kids couldn't gain access to psychologists. There was a 6 to 12 month wait, which broke my heart. Unfortunately, Samantha, that's how it is today. It still is today that kids can't get help, parents can't get help, people can't get help because there isn't enough help available. And so that was the purpose of Happy Souls Kids. I had a private practice in Torquay on the Surf Coast here where we moved for 4 years. And I worked out the pain points that children and parents were facing. And there's just so much disconnection between the parents and children. Parents are so busy working so hard that they're not actually connecting to their kids. They're building a life for them, but not with them. And I learned play therapy. So I studied play therapy where I learned the modalities that children really relate to, such as making slime. We would make slime in practice, and it's that self-regulation tool of that really pulling, or we'd play even games like hide and seek. I don't know if you've played hide and seek lately, Samantha, but you get like little butterflies in your tummy. It's just so cute. I get why they like these games. And through all of that work that we've done, it's just like working out that language. But with kids, I was in practice with one of them one day and I said, hey, do you want to do some meditation? He just rolls his eyes at me. Whatever, lady. I said, LeBron James meditates, and instantaneously he wanted to meditate straight away. And so that was the birth of Happy Souls Kids, where we utilize their heroes to teach them the lessons that we now know as adults. Like they might see someone win a gold medal and be like, oh my God, they're so amazing. And you're like, yes, they are, but you haven't seen the journey that they've had to go through to get there. And that is included in drinking. Like a lot of people don't know how to support their emotions, so they'll go out and drink, or they'll go out and party, gossip, date too much, or be on social media, or sugar. That's a big one with me. And it's learning these modalities. But if we can give kids the tools that when they have an emotion arise, they can say, oh, I'm feeling really angry. They can feel that emotion and release it. They're not going to have the issues that we have. They're able to have healthy ways to self-regulate their body.
If you've been someone where a lot of your, so in the family unit, like so much of my focus was spent on drinking. Like, what am I going to drink today? You know, I can't go back to when my kids are little, they're teenagers now. But how do you kind of shift back into like, let's connect, let's deal with our emotions, let's do play therapy? What are some practical steps that parents can do?
It's the connection. It is all about the connection. And if we really sit down and think about some of the things our kids have said to us over time, hey, mummy, will you come and play with me? No, I'm too busy. I've got the washing. I've got the dishes to do. I can't play with you. But if they said to you, mummy, I'm having a really hard day, we would respond very differently. So it's understanding kids' language. The first thing is I would have a conversation and say, you know what, I haven't been the best mum that I can be to you, and I am so sorry. There are so many times where I have been up in my head and I've been too busy worrying about all of these things, and I haven't been honest and authentic with you about that. So I want to start today and say, hey, I want to start being really open and honest and having a beautiful communication with you, and start with apologizing to them. Have that really open communication with them that things are going to change, and you want them to be open with you because you're mirroring that behavior. If you're shutting off to your kids, you're mirroring to them what to do. We don't need to go into the story of things like divorce and separation's big, and we don't need to go into the story of, oh, someone did this or someone did this.
Yeah.
It's like just saying, I've had a really hard time, and explaining to them that I felt sad, I felt disappointed. And so when you're having dinner at the dinner table, if that's something that you do, It's how was your day, rather than, oh, my day was fantastic, which a lot of parents do because we want to be Superman, Superwoman, and have these big shields above us. We say, actually, today was really hard and it was really frustrating, and I had a contract that didn't work out, and I found out that somebody's not very well. And we have these open communications with our kids, so then they can say, oh, there's nothing wrong with me. Like mum and dad or my carer, they have problems too. They have these emotions that they work through. One of the connection exercises I suggest is eye gazing, just directly looking at your child's eyes, not talking, but you can laugh, you can make faces and build that connection back. Another one is giving your children control. The studies state that if you spend even 20 minutes of undivided attention with your kids, that is building that connection. Now, that doesn't mean sitting on the floor and playing Lego, depending on how old they are, and going through your to-do list and looking around the house. It means wholeheartedly being in that moment. And parents will say to me, I find it really hard to sit on the floor and play with my kids, because they find it hard to find something you can do together. That could be gaming, playing Nintendo together. The kids, especially 8 to 12, love gaming. We try and get them to stop, but that's how they feel empowered, because they're not getting that empowerment anywhere else. Go somewhere. Have a yes day with your kids. I'm big on yes days. I don't know if you've seen the movie, Samantha, but giving kids control of, what do you want to do today? When was the last time we asked, what is it that you want to do today? How do you want to spend your day? You could give them a time limit. You could give them a money limit. You could say, hey, we're just going to ride our bikes today, and get them to choose where they're going, because you'd be really surprised on what kids need sometimes and what they want. 9 times out of 10, if I say to a child in practice, if you could plan your day from start to finish, what would it look like? 9 times out of 10, they're with their families. They're with their mums and dads. That's all they want. That's all children want. And we find it really hard to do that with them. So it's just some of the things that I would suggest to do to build that beautiful connection and be really honest and authentic with them. Just like you would a partner, be like that with your kids too.
I really like that. My son is super into YouTube and the games. He's 14, and I made him bring the PlayStation into the living room. My husband's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "We're gonna play Mortal Kombat." And he's like, "You're
Yes.
gonna play Mortal Kombat with him?" And I'm like, "I'm trying to meet him where he's
Yeah,
at.
that's beautiful.
Plus, I know how to play that."
And you know what, Samantha? It's fun. Like, we play Super Mario and Donkey Kong and all of these games. Like, I have a ball. I get super competitive. I have fun, but
Yeah.
thank you for bringing it into the lounge room, because I don't know if you've seen the show Adolescence. It was such a big thing in Australia and UK. I know it made it over to America a little bit, but Adolescence is a series that you can watch. It's so powerful, so triggering for parents, and it really shows what can happen with your children. If a child is in their room with the door closed, having full access to the internet, we have no idea what rabbit holes they are going down. So just making sure that you do bring it into the lounge room, have the conversations together, watch the YouTube with them, play the games together, and actually be able to understand where they're going. It's just so important, because if you're not having these conversations with them, someone on the internet is, and they're learning from somebody that you have no idea about. And YouTube can be amazing. There are so many amazing parts to it, but it's also very toxic. There is hackers in there that are doing horrible things with kids. So we just need to be careful.
Yes, I totally agree. Okay, so one thing you talk about a lot is art therapy and breath work, and that they're powerful tools for expression and calm. How did those tools help you reconnect with yourself when you were going through all this, your separation, breaking up with alcohol, all those
Love
things?
this. I actually, during my partying days, saw a meditation teacher, and this was deep into when I was quite broken. And she got me to draw. I couldn't express how I was feeling at the time. I didn't even know what emotions were. I was always told to eat concrete, harden up, you'll be right. And so that's when I started expressing myself. So her drawing of art therapy ends up being what I do with children subconsciously without even realizing. That modality helped me because I just got a sketch pad and I just drew my feelings. I choose a color and I just draw. And that's a great place to start if you're finding it really hard to express yourself. When I went into art therapy, I hadn't even connected the dots until many years later. That's the path that really helped me. When I was studying, it helped me with my separation. I did a sadhana practice, which is like pranayama, mantra, kriya, yoga sequences every single morning for the year after I separated, and that really supported me, and it helped my son at that time as well. And so then when I studied, it was helping me more than it was helping others. Like, you got to work on yourself first. Your body is like a garbage truck. So you're holding so much inside. So you can yell, you can scream into a pillow, you can jump it out, you can do verata, which is like dancing. It needs to come out in some form. If art isn't for you, find a modality. It can be boxing. Boxing's a really great way to get it out. And so journaling, that's another really great way. I also learnt so much about breath work. Our bodies are like an air conditioner. If we are heated inside, we can use our breath to calm down. And so we don't need to sit there in that monk position like people think that we do. It's just literally when you are heated in those moments with your children, especially because they happen, and you can feel yourself going up, that is when you need to bring yourself back down again. And so it's just simply like closing your eyes or keeping them open if you need to, and just focusing on your breath and coming back into the present moment. And so breath work mirrors to kids what they can do in those moments. When kids are in fight or flight states, when they are on a different planet, when they are dysregulated, they can't hear you. They cannot hear you. So if you say, calm down, take some deep breaths, do all this, go to your calm quarter, they can't hear what you're saying. But if you can sit there in that present moment knowing that this will pass, it's a great mantra to have, this will pass, this will pass. But if you breathe, they actually feed off your calm. So breath work is really a way to help us deal with the big stuff that we've got coming up, but it mirrors to our kids as well what they should be doing. So in moments of dysregulation, when you're dysregulated, come back to your breath. And you don't need fancy practices. They help. Absolutely. Please do them if you can. But just breathe and come back. And if you find it difficult, just follow the breath in and out of your body and just breathe and calm yourself down that way.
I cannot handle like the breathwork retreats and all the crazy breathwork where you see them like screaming and wiggling on the floor. I'm like, no, 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 thank you. But I like the way that you explained it. I'm like, I can take some moments to breathe.
I have done all of those crazy ceremonies, Samantha. I've done a lot of them. And it really is the simple practices. They're not for everybody, like you just said. And it does look weird. And there's always weird stuff that happens. And, you know,
I've done them. I was like, did it, check that on my bucket list. Don't want to do it again.
Yeah, it's just the calmness of having that connection to self is what most of us are missing. And that's what we try and teach kids, to have that connection to self. And that's where we need to start.
Okay, let's shift into talking about redefining our community, because when you go sober and you make these big changes, you kind of have to rebuild your life. So when you went sober, how did your relationship shift? And did your idea of community evolve from that?
Big question. I did. I definitely didn't get invited to as many things as I did. And to make it even more solidified, I went public. I started writing articles about how I've decided to quit drinking. And this was 10 years ago when it wasn't really spoken about. So you can imagine people were just like, yeah, no, we're not going to invite her because we don't want her to come because she's not drinking. It was like, it was really lonely. It was a really lonely time in my life. And I quit drinking when my son was 18 months old. So I'm a new mum with not drinking. Going public with all of these things is challenging, and people are inspired by it, but that doesn't necessarily mean they want you around. So it's first doing the healing work with you. Then it's having conversations with your friends and saying, I have no judgment towards you whatsoever. This is your path. You get to choose what your path is, but this is my path. And sometimes it's not going out and having dinners or going out and drinking with those particular friends. It's going for a walk with them. It's having a separate dinner with them rather than in the big groups. When I was pregnant, a friend said to me, you are more fun than most of the people here, and you are pregnant and not drinking. It's just finding the people that love and respect that. I absolutely had to shift gears with different friendship groups. It can be very lonely. It is hard to find your tribe, but that's all part of the journey. And if you realize that at the time, you're like, okay, you've got to start putting boundaries around certain people as well. I didn't even know what a boundary was back then. I was such a people pleaser. I'd do whatever anybody wanted. And this was the first moment in my life that I said, no, I'm doing this for me. And I was like, whoa, that was powerful. And you think that people are going to celebrate that, but they don't, Samantha, as I'm sure you've experienced. They don't celebrate it. They are triggered by it, because it's something within them that they can't potentially do. So I need that to be very clear. It's not you that's the problem. It's something within them that's been triggered. And then it's just finding whether it's a yoga community that you go to or going to all these crazy breathwork things where people don't drink. And it's finding the communities that you can relate to and aspire to be in, and finding people that you want to be around. You know, that saying, you are the 5 people that you hang around with. So find the 5 people, and you want to be you want to be around more intelligent people. You want to be able to learn from people that you're around. So find the groups, find the people that inspire you, and start looking there. Now, we moved to Torquay after I separated, and I was a broken mess, like a little bird who wasn't drinking, and moved up there. And I would join surfing communities, women's communities, and all of these things. It takes time to find your people, but they're there. These days, there's so many more people that aren't drinking. Rather than judging people that are, have love and compassion for them. Can you imagine still being in that state where you were drinking? It's a tough place to be in. They're really not ready to deal with their stuff. If they have stuff, allow them that space to do that.
Yeah. And I just enjoy doing different things. Invite my friends. We go to cold plunges. We'll go for walks. It's different.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if you want to hang out, I'll be here at 5:30 in the morning.
Yes.
It's just
I will be there with you at a different time zone.
Okay. So you build community through Happy Soul Kids. What does real connection look like for kids and parents in your world?
First of all, I say that we just build a different language within the household. We often parent our children how we were parented without realizing. How many times have you thought, oh my gosh, this is what my mother used to say? It's just finding a different language within the household. It can help you relate to your child rather than the hierarchy of, I'm the parent, you're the child, you need to listen to me. What about if we listen to each other? What if we have that deep connection with each other where we give them a voice and they're able to also say what they want to do within the household? So it's sitting down as a family and saying, hey, how can we work together to make this happen? How can we work together in the household? What are your needs? What are my needs? I need to make sure I have my own self-love. Like, that's really important to me. I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, Samantha, and go to the gym, try and get home before my son wakes up. And I make sure that I have my cup lit up. Parents need to do that as well as children do. So it's also asking your kids, and it's such a hard question because especially at your age, did you say 14 or 16?
My son is 14 and my daughter is 20.
Okay, so they're really hard questions because they are going to be brutally honest with you. Asking the question, what can I do to be a better mum? That's where we connect with our kids. We can say, I don't like it that you yell. Kids hate it when we yell. I grew up in a household of yelling, so it became normalized to me. I had to really spin that back. As soon as I raise my voice, my son gets really upset. I have to come from a calmer place. I can be like, oh, I don't like it that you did that. And he's like, stop yelling at me. I'm like, oh, okay. It's really working out how you can collaborate together. When your kids get to that 16 or 20 age, you want to be able to, 14, 20, you want to be able to say, hey, when they're out, because kids will go out, kids make mistakes, they push the boundaries, that's what they do, especially in their teenage years. You want to be the safe place for them to come back to. But that starts with, because even with drinking, they may or they may not, it's an assumption of course, push the boundaries with drinking. When my son comes to me and says something like, oh, mummy, this happened at school, I'm like, hey, thanks so much for telling me. And I've become that safe space with him that I don't tell him off or get angry. I just become a safe space for him to be able to say, if I go out drinking or if I go out and do these things, I'm okay to tell my mum because she's going to support me. And I think it's having those elements of being that safe space for your kids. It's so important. Now, that doesn't mean letting kids get away with things. It just means in that moment, having that reaction and then having later conversations of, hey, how did you feel in that moment? Was there anything that you would do differently? And getting them to think about it. As parents, we often try and solve our kids' solutions. Like, we'll be like, oh yeah, you should do this and this, but that doesn't help them. So if we can take a step back and say, how would you do that differently? It's really important.
You have some really good insights. We could just do this all day.
Thank you.
Wow, that's a really powerful question to ask. Like, how can I be a better mom?
And you just got to brace
it. How can I be a better mom to you?
You got to brace it.
How can I support you?
How can I support you? Exactly. What is the best way that we can work together in the family dynamic? So it just comes from a place of connection rather than that hierarchy of you will do what I say, which doesn't feel good.
Many adults wish they had emotional tools as children. What are the foundational practices you wish you had had growing up?
Everything that I teach kids, that mistakes are our mates. When we make a mistake, there's a part of our brain that helps us grow. There's a really great book, it's in America, called Big Life Journal. I get all of their kids in practice to get this book. It's about self-regulation and growth mindset, and it's such a great book. And in here, it has a little moment, it's my favorite page in the book, that says, when we make a mistake, our brains grow. So it's helping kids understand that they're not perfect, neither are we. And it's helping our kids understand that we make mistakes as well. It's really helping them understand that emotions are there to help us. And every emotion is welcome in our body, even the anger, even the sadness. I've spent most of my life trying to be happy all the time and trying to be a good person and happy because I thought that would make me be loved. When sometimes I experience frustration and I experience anger and all of these different emotions, and that's what makes me whole and that's what makes me human. And I think that's really important for kids to understand, that emotions have their place, even anxiety, even depression. All of these parts of us have our place. I've just gone through some really big stuff and I had to sit in sadness, and that had its purpose to release from my body. I went up to the park and I just couldn't stop crying. I was with my son and my dog and it was dark. I just couldn't stop crying. My son said to me, "That's okay, Mummy. You just let your tears flow. What do you need in this moment? Do you need a hug? Do you need Cookie to come over and give you a hug? That's all right, Mummy. I've got you." And he'll come over and give me a hug. And I've mirrored that to him over time. It's such a beautiful moment with him that he can hold that space. And I think that's where it comes from, that we need to hold space for ourselves first. Allow us to understand that we have different parts of ourselves, and that's okay. And it's accepting that sometimes we're going to make a mistake and we're not perfect. And I think that's really important for kids to know. Through Happy Souls Kids and the app that we've developed, all the filming that we've done is implementing a lot of these things that we've talked about today into the stories of the athletes and helping them understand that even the biggest athletes in the world have hard days. They've had times where it's really challenging. They've had times where they've had a lack of self-worth. They've had times where they haven't wanted to show up. They've had times that they've found it really hard. And so everybody's human. And I think that's really important for kids to know. My parents would, if they would shun me out, I would think, oh, they don't love me. They did love me. They just loved me in their own way. And so having that connection. Another thing I'll mention that's just come up for me now is telling your kids that you're proud of them. Not when they get a goal in basketball, not when they win a game, actually telling them every single day, I am so proud of you just for being you.
Okay, so Happy Souls Kids, I saw online that you guys have a goal to reach 100,000 children.
Yes, 100,000 children globally by 2027. It's a big goal. I've seen it in private practice. The differences when a child's come in to when they've left is so beautiful and heartwarming. If we can do that all around the world for kids, it just makes my heart sing. It's not just kids that need help, it's parents. The app isn't for a child to do on their iPad, it's for you and them to do it together. So you can learn the lessons, parents can learn just as much as children can.
So the parents can do it too?
Yeah, they can do it together. Like on the app? Yeah, we suggest even just 5 minutes a day of just going on. It's still in a prototype phase, so if anyone wants to be one of our beta testers, you're welcome to send me an email at hello@happysoulskids.com. We encourage parents and children to do it together. So in moments of dysregulation and when they've got those big feelings, or in a moment where they've played a soccer game and they've lost, you can say, oh, remember what Archie Thompson, he's a soccer player, somebody we're starting with Australian athletes at the moment, but we're going to America soon. Archie Thompson told us that he found it really difficult in these moments, and this is what he did to help him through. So you can have those conversations with your kids in real time with what you've learned in the app. That's the purpose of it.
Oh my gosh, I love that. You know, this just reminded me. So we have a conversation cube. Have you seen these?
No.
They have cards.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Do you have one? I have one and it's on the shelf by our table. Mine's on this weird cube. But
I do have that one. It's in the car. I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, it's in like a glass cube or plexiglass. But I do pull it out sometimes at dinner. It's so funny. My son the other day was like, oh my God, not the conversation cube. You know, they'll start talking because it's funny questions. But then the other day he's like, I don't want to answer these questions, but we started building a tower out of the conversation cards.
Love it. And that's connection. That right there, Samantha. We don't have to do that. Like a child can see something from a different perspective, and we just need to accept that perspective. And that is a perfect analogy that you just said then, is that they looked at the cards and saw a tower. Great. Let's build a tower. How wonderful.
It's just funny because both of them are like, no, not the conversation cube. But then they start chatting, you know?
It's important to them and they like it. They don't want to talk about feelings and emotions because it's uncomfortable. So the more in a family dynamic, if we can normalize it, the more it helps kids.
So, for anyone listening who's holding tension, disconnection, or just trying to feel steady, what's one piece of permission or healing you want them to hear right now?
That you are enough, that parenting is hard, you're going to make mistakes, and that's okay.
I mean, yeah, it is hard.
It's so
And I think
hard.
all of us screw up.
You don't get given a rule book when your child's born and said, this is the genes of your child, this is how to parent them. And especially when you have multiple children, they're different. You've got to go through and work out, oh, this is my child, this is what they like. And then you've got another child that likes something different. It's challenging, it's hard. But please work on yourself and make time for yourself, because otherwise, if you are living for your kids, you are coming from a place of resentment without even realizing. It's really important to make sure that you fill up your cup first, whatever that means to you. Go back into your childhood, go back to joy. I started surfing at 40 years old. I rollerblade, I've got a skateboard. Like, they're things that make my soul happy. So finding something for you, whatever that might, it might be knitting, it might be even just walking, hiking, that really makes you happy.
I love that. I actually have a friend who lives in Australia and she took up surfing because she was like, I've lost myself. So she started surfing. It was pretty fun to watch.
It is the hardest sport I've ever done because you are not in control, the waves are, and it's really challenging. But when you get up on a wave, you feel like Wonder Woman and ride that wave, and it is so much joy. But to get to that place, there's not many things that teach you resilience. It's tough. If you are having hard days, watch Wonder Woman. I always suggest people watch this, or even the little gifs on your phone. Going to that energy of, oh, I can save the world. It's so beautiful, especially during separation and you feel completely broken. Watching films like that is just so empowering.
That is a really good movie.
Yeah, you're like, oh, I can save the world. It's beautiful.
Okay, where can people find you online? I think we skipped over this, but you have a 21-day self-love program too, correct?
Yeah, so we're rejigging it at the moment, but I actually wrote this program before I separated. So I had to use my own program that I wrote obviously for myself during that time, where it really teaches you just to love you. Really, people have this perception that self-love is that you're vain or you're selfish or all of these things. But Samantha, I'll ask you a question. Who do you love most in the entire world?
I want to say myself now.
Yeah, but usually what would be
But
your
I
first
actually,
answer? Our kids, our family, our friends. And it's like that analogy
yeah.
of when you're in the plane and you put your mask on. You do need to look after yourself. You need to put your mask on first, because if you are broken, your kids are going to be broken because they feed off you. The self-love program teaches people that loving you is just so important, because if you're not solid, no one else around you is, and you become snappy with everyone else without even realizing. Finding you again and having that connection to self is so incredibly important.
Awesome. So where does that hang out and where can we find Happy Soul Kids?
Okay, we've got Happy Souls Kids as a website. So our website is Happy Souls with an S and kids with an S.com. We're on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. And then my name is Jacintha, which it's a bit of a tongue twister. So it's like Samantha and Jacinta. So it's JACINTHAFIELD.com as a website. I also have Instagram and TikTok and LinkedIn. So yeah, please reach out if you need some support and help, because this journey isn't easy. Sobriety is not easy, especially when parenting. So if you need some tips and tricks, thank you, Samantha, for creating this space. We appreciate you so much for having these conversations, because it really does help people.
Thank you. I appreciate that. We'll have you linked in the show notes. Do you work with people all over the world?
Yeah.
Or just specifically where you live?
Yeah, I've got sessions in New York and all around Australia, and I've got a couple of sessions in a few other countries, UK. So yeah, we can book in sessions all over the world. So that's what we call telehealth. If COVID taught us anything, it's that we can connect with people everywhere.
I love that. Okay, well, thank you so much for being on the Samantha Parker Show, and thanks for sharing your light in the world. I appreciate you coming on early in the day.
Oh, this is like lunchtime.
And-
We're 5 a.m.ers. This is like by 8 o'clock, it's like lunchtime.
Oh, perfect. I did get up this morning at 4:30 to go to a spin class, but I don't know if that's something I like to do.
Yeah. No, I woke up
4:30 is a little too
I
early.
woke up this morning and I go to the gym every other day apart from Friday mornings, and I was like, yeah, no, I don't want to get up today. But that's also another self-love thing. Feel into your body. If you don't want to get up, don't get up.
I'd rather get up at like 5:30 or 6:30 feels
Mm.
good to me, but yeah, 4:30 just felt a little early.
Yeah, it's at 4:45. I could get up at 4:45 and go to the gym and I enjoy it. But it's the 3, like when you're in perimenopause and all of these things. I don't know if you're in those areas and you just wake
Yeah.
up 15 times throughout the night.
Yes.
It's the 3 that kills me. The 4 or the 4:45, great. 3, not good.
No, I know my dog was like, I don't know what she was doing. And so the dog woke me up at like 2:30 in the morning and I was like pissed.
Because we're
So
going to
then
get
I
back
like,
to sleep. We need our sleep so much.
yeah, I know. And then I was just kind of lucid dreaming and then my alarm goes off at 4:30 and I was like, what is this?
Exactly.
I feel
Snooze.
it. Yes. Okay, well, thank you so much for being on the Samantha Parker Show and thanks for sharing your light with the world.
Beautiful. Thank you.